Hello everyone, this is Kitty Clinical here with another video. I wanted to talk briefly about medical errors because I know medical errors is a very hot topic, and I want to talk about something I came across pretty recently. This was published or updated in May 30th of this year, 2023. It is called Root Cause Analysis and Medical Error Prevention by it looks like a Dr. Singh or Gunjan Singh. And it briefly talks about the various types of medical errors. Briefly, this explains why this is important. And I want to briefly talk about the portion of this article where they talk about the types of medical errors. So they say it's important to recognize the different types of events. It's not always going to be human miscalculation, but it's also going to be very, very diverse types of errors, right? So you've got medication errors, which we commonly think of as the most preventable or common cause of patient injury. This includes giving the wrong medication, giving the wrong dosage of the medication. Maybe you gave it IV instead of PO, PO being oral, IV being intravenous, right? There's also the other types of ways to administer medication, like per rectum, right? Suppository. You can possibly give the medication at the wrong time. Like maybe it was supposed to be a morning pill instead of a night pill. So you give like a stimulant drug at nighttime. They're going to be up all night. Or you give Lasix, a water pill at nighttime. They're going to be up all night peeing. Right? You don't want that. We usually like to give Lasix around some hospitals dose at like 6 a.m., 2 p.m. So if you do like BID or twice a day dosing, it's going to be once in the morning around like 6 a.m. is really early. I don't know how people get up at 6 a.m. Oh, it's crazy. It's so early. And I know everybody does it because that's just the society we live in. Is just you have to wake up at like 5, 4 a.m. Like you might as well wake up at 1 a.m. I mean, I remember there was an episode of How I Met Your Mother where the news reporter she's like wakes up at 1 a.m. or she goes to work at 1 a.m. and like that's the morning. Like most people go to sleep at 1 a.m. Like this is ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going way off topic here. But yeah, incorrect timing. So you can give Lasix usually like in the morning and then once in the maybe early afternoon. You don't want to give it like every 12 hours because then they might stay up all night peeing, right? Or you give it to the wrong patient. That would be the worst thing. That's definitely happened before where people have given the wrong IV medication or they give like the feeding, IV feeds or parenteral feeds. They give it to the wrong patient or they switch patients. That definitely happens. This usually can happen in like hospitals. They say here the reported incidence of medication error associated adverse events in acute hospitals is around 6.5 per 100 admissions. So 6.5 that's a pretty good number. I mean, medication errors in the peri-discharge from an acute care facility are the most easily overlooked or missed errors. And then the other error is failure to correctly identify the cause of the clinical condition promptly. So diagnostic errors, they like to call this missed opportunities to make a correct or timely diagnosis based on the available evidence regardless of patient harm. I don't know about this. Being a diagnostician is very, very difficult, especially if you have no idea what's going on and they're a poor historian. Maybe you're looking at the wrong thing on the labs. Maybe they have low sodium, but that has nothing to do with the diagnosis, In hospitalized patients, wound infections, pressure ulcers, falls, healthcare associated infections, and technical complications constitute another group of preventable medical errors. I've seen falls as a very common complication of a hospital stay, prolonged hospital stays. So you might see that a lot. Maybe even on a question, you might see different types of errors. I would at least the very least I would look up like sentinel event, near miss. I would take the time to look up that stuff because that can be important. But yeah, the most common system errors is failure to disseminate drug knowledge and patient information. Typically, this is a communication error, you between providers or with the patient. Failure to employ indicated tests is another medical error that can lead to diagnostic delays or errors. So let's say you order an ultrasound instead of a CAT scan. Maybe you needed the CAT scan to diagnose it. Using outdated tests or treatments, or failing to respond to the results of tests or monitoring, also constitutes a type of medical error. That's definitely happened before too, where you get you get a test, and you don't do anything, you don't act on it. It's important to act on things if they're important. Like if someone's potassium is 7.5, I would act on that. I wouldn't sit on it. I wouldn't just give Lokelma. I would get the EKG. I would give the calcium carbonate. I would try to take or the calcium. I think it's either calcium carbonate or calcium gluconate that you give. But I would, regardless, I would give the calcium to stabilize the cardiac myocytes. I would get the EKG to see if there's any peak T waves. I would you can consider giving insulin, right? Dextrose. I can spend an entire video on the management of hyperkalemia, but I wouldn't just give Lokelma for a potassium of 7.5. I would take the time to look and understand, why is this potassium so high? What can I do to reverse it? Because too much potassium definitely kills the patient. Treatment errors include errors during the performance of a test or procedure and inappropriate treatment. So that's basically it. Those are the types of errors that they outline in this article, and I think it's really interesting. I would take the time to read this article if you have the chance. It looks like it's under the books section, and they've got some review questions. It's pretty interesting. I think this is a very fun read. I would take the time to look at it, and hope you enjoyed this video. What do you think about these articles I'm sharing? Are they good? Are they worth it? Do you think that there's no point to doing it? Let me know in the comments down below. Very interested to hear what your thoughts are on medical errors. I will see you in the next video.